Alright, hey everybody, welcome to another episode of GCW Local to Global. We're back with some GCW. We've got Fuel 131 on the show today. We've got Rival TV, and of course, we've got Summer Showdown pay-per-view. So we're starting the pre-show with Taz beating York, Christian York, of course, with a T-bone suplex. Just a one-off for Christian York right here. 46 for Taz. We're continuing the pre-show with Shane Douglas defeating Julio Fantastico in 145 for the pile driver. So great win here for Shane Douglas. We've got Adrian Adonis versus Tommy Rich, and Adrian Adonis gets that win in 505 by submission. This didn't do too well, but that's fine. And then your pre-show main event, if you want, Fit Finley, John Cronus, and Hobo Riggs take on Kaz Hayashi and Too Cool, and Kaz Hayashi and Too Cool win when Grandmaster Sexay pinned Finley. So not too bad. Gets a 62. Oh, I forgot we have one more. Nikolai Volkov versus Steve Blackman, and Blackman defeats Volkov with that guillotine choke. So 61 right here. As we open the show with a promo from Brian Pillman. Booker T comes out. Or the opposite, I don't remember. And these two are facing off for the Intercontinental Championship at Summer Showdown. So this gets a 90. We're opening the show with Chris Jericho versus X-Pac, and Jericho beats X-Pac with the Lion Tamer after cheating. So car crash match, and X-Pac still pulls a 55. We get an 80, thanks to Chris Jericho carrying the match. And then we've got Jericho and Candido beating down X-Pac, and Triple H making the save. So not too bad, 70. Cactus Jack gets a backstage promo on The Rock. They're facing off in a street fight this Sunday for the World Championship. Rey Mysterio defeats Hector Garza. This grants him another opportunity at the Cruiserweight Championship at Summer Showdown. So once again, Juventud versus Rey on pay-per-view. And we got the New Age Outlaws cutting a promo, and Undertaker and Kane come out. We got a tag match this Sunday. It's going to be Road Dogg and Billy Gunn versus The Undertaker and Kane. This gets a 76. Triple H defeats Chris Candido. Next hits him with that pedigree in 11:51. Big win tonight for Triple H. Chris Benoit cuts a backstage promo. Eddie Guerrero or Perry Saturn, it doesn't matter. Chris Benoit will be the inaugural United States champion, so this gets a 58. We've got DDP cutting a promo, and he's upset that he didn't win the number one contenders match against Brian Pillman. And the Godfather comes out and he's like, you know what would make you feel better? Some hoes. So he brings out some hoes for DDP, and DDP, he's having a good time, and then he hits one with a diamond cutter and runs away. So this gets a 55. And this is going to set up a DDP vs. Godfather match at Summer Showdown, just a throwaway match, so DDP has something to do on the pay-per-view. Eddie Guerrero defeats Perry Saturn, hits him with that frog splash, which means that Eddie Guerrero versus Chris Benoit for the inaugural United States Championship is official for Summer Showdown. This gets a 90. And then we got The Rock cutting a promo, and Cactus Jack ends up coming out. They're just exchanging words ahead of their pay-per-view match. Main event, Steve Austin and Shawn Michaels defeat Show-Rock when Steve Austin pinned the Big Show with a stunner. Unfortunately, Shawn and Steve don't click as partners, and this gets a 79, which is a bit underwhelming. But afterwards, Shawn Michaels hits Steve Austin with the Sweet Chin Music. These two are facing off at Summer Showdown in the main event for the finals of the Summer Series. All right. Not too bad of a show. Gets an 87, I think. And then I've got an episode of Rival TV to book. And I'm not going to show the booking process. I'm just going to show the results, as I always do, because we have the pay-per-view to book. So let's go take care of that. Right, let's go. So I'll be right back with the results in just one moment. Alright, let's go. We've got Rival TV. We're starting off with a 3-on-3 tag team match. It's Mark Mero, Ekmo, and Chemo versus Jerry Lynn, Steven Richards, and Val Venus. And Mero's team gets the win when Mero pins Val Venus with the TKO. And this did pretty good, 52. We're moving on to Edge and Christian, cutting a backstage promo on the Hardys and the Dudleys. Not much to say, 48. We've got the Impact players exchanging words with Baron Von Buchanan and Darren Drozdov. And next week we've got a tag team match, Impact players versus Droz and Buchanan. RVD gets his win on exam, not by disqualification this time. He actually gets that frog splash to get the victory, gets a 58. And afterwards, Mark Merrow attacks Rob Van Dam, beats him down. And your main event, Rikishi versus Stevie Ray. Stevie Ray gets the win with the slapjack after interference from Mark Henry. So this gets a 60, which means that Stevie Ray is the number one contender for Goldberg's television championship. So take that, not too bad. And now we've got one more show to book, one more to see the results of, and it's Summer Showdown. And let's get into that. So we're done with Rival Pro. That's fine. All right, we'll be right back with Summer Showdown in just one moment. All right, we are officially here. Summer Showdown pay-per-view 1997. We're opening the show with commentary. Jim Ross, Kevin Nash, and Mauro Ranallo open the show. For some reason, they put us in front of 15,000 people, despite us being able to draw 36,000. So I don't know why it gave us 15. It said it would put us in a generic venue, but it should probably be closer to 30, but whatever. Not the end of the world. Pay-per-view buys are going to do better for us. So commentary opens the show. And run down the card. So we're opening with X-Pac versus Chris Candido, and X-Pac gets that win with a quick roll-up. And unfortunately, X-Pac seemed off his game, and they don't click. So that's a poor opener, but you know what? It's not the end of the world. We're moving on. DDP versus The Godfather. Another one where they don't click, which is unfortunate. But DDP gets that win with the Diamond Cutter. And now we're going to move on to actually good matches. So Triple H versus Chris Jericho. And Chris Jericho's gimmick is getting stale. So let's mark that down. But in 1357, Triple H gets the win over Chris Jericho with the pedigree. This gets a 90. Two future world champions for sure in GCW. So this gets a 90. Not too bad. We're moving on to Juventud versus Rey. Another 90. And Juventud Guerrero defeats Rey Mysterio after interference from the Masked Man. And Juventud makes defense number 2 of the Cruiserweight Championship. After the match, the Masked Man unmasks himself, and it's Chavo Guerrero, or just Chavo at this point, and he beats down Rey. So, it's Chavo. 44, we're moving on to Undertaker and Kane versus the New Age Outlaws, and gets a 92 as Undertaker and Kane get the win when Undertaker pinned Road Dogg with the chokeslam. Both these teams have great chemistry with each other. So this gets a 92. Intercontinental Championship is on the line next. It's Brian Pillman versus Booker T. 89. Brian Pillman hits the air Pillman and wins the Intercontinental Championship once again. Pillman is the champion once more for the IC title division. Gets an 89. Next up, the inaugural United States champion will be crowned. It is Chris Benoit, the former hardcore champion, versus Eddie Guerrero, the television champion. Those titles were retired before the show went on the air. So let's get right into it. 96, as Chris Benoit defeats Eddie Guerrero in 30-39 by submission with the Crippler crossface. And Benoit wins the United States Championship and is the first U.S. champ in GCW. So 96. Next up, The Rock versus Cactus Jack for the GCW Championship in a street fight. Gets an 89, and The Rock makes defense number 6 of the title. Gets the win over Cactus Jack in 22-22. Unfortunately, the chemistry was, or the psychology wasn't there. They have pretty good chemistry, which was good, but gets an 89. We've got one more match on the card. Steve Austin versus Shawn Michaels. The Rattlesnake versus the Heartbreak Kid. Summer Series is on the line. The finals. If Shawn wins, he wins the title, the Summer Series for the first time. If Austin wins, he wins it for the third time. So who's gonna win? Let's go find out right now. In a 99 match, Steve Austin defeats Shawn Michaels in 24-45 with the stunner to once again win the Summer Series for the third time. So Austin gets a 94, Shawn with a 97, as we end the show with a 99 for this match. So very good. We end the show with a 95. We'll take it. It's not too bad. So we're going to tell Steve Austin good job. We're going to tell Shawn Michaels good job. Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero. $8 million. It's not bad. Popularity all over the states goes up. A little bit in Mexico, a little bit in England, and in Japan. And we're not going to do a media scrum. Alright, so Summer Showdown was a success. Austin is once again the Summer Series winner, which means he gets an opportunity at the GCW Championship at the show of his choosing. Chris Candido has big morale issues, probably because he put X-Pac over. So let's give him a bonus. Let's give Chris Candido $25,000. Hopefully he'll take that. Yep, there you go. Godfather is a bit irritated, so let's give him like $5,000. Here you go. And Wally Yamaguchi, why are you angry? I don't know, we'll give him $10,000, hopefully calm him down. There you go. And then Chris Benoit, who I've given a lot of money to, still is unhappy. Let's give him $40,000. There we go. And yeah, GCW was a success. So The Rock walks out of Summer Showdown still the champion. Juventud Guerrera still the Cruiserweight champion. Brian Pillman wins the Intercontinental Championship for the second time. He hasn't won it since, well, he was the first champion, so hasn't won it since then. Summer Series won by Steve Austin once again. Chris Benoit is the United States champion, and Triple H and Shawn Michaels, of course, still the tag champs. So I'd say that was a pretty successful show. We'll see you guys in the next episode where we will be hosting Fuel 132. And next episode is the last episode in which we will not also feature an episode of Ignition, because Ignition debuts. Where are we? So this is next episode, and the episode after that we're doing Fuel, and then we're doing Ignition as well. So Ignition is debuting on September 2nd for the show, and then it airs on September 4th. So until then, have a good one. We'll see you guys in the next one, and goodbye.